Hello everybody, it is Mike the Vin on Monday, December 20th, 2021, soon to be 2022, and where's my flying car? So on that last video I explained the likely quote anti-gravity propulsion system of the Tic Tac UFOs, UAPs, what have you. The very famous ones recently because of the 2004 USS Nimitz incident that was covered by 60 Minutes in an interview with, I think his name was Fravor, Officer Fravor, a flight officer, instructor, squadron leader, or whatever the terminology is, and highly credible. So in looking at what in the world could be going on with those things, I was led to quantum phase locking, or simply quantum locking and quantum pinning, which was the subject of that last video. I made reference to a possible source of extra helium, or hydrogen really, to create fusion for, that produces helium, as element 113. I meant to say element 115. That's the one that's all the rage as a UFO fuel source because of that laser guy, Harv Laser, is it? With the saucer-shaped UFOs. And I haven't really talked about those a lot, nor the triangle ones, which have been popular in recent years as suspected as being U.S. Or other terrestrial government vehicles. TR-3B is the code name for the vehicle that's thrown around a lot. So, because I got infatuated with the Tic Tac UFOs, I fixed on this one anti-gravity scheme that's not really anti-gravity at all, but it's based on a phenomenon you can see very clearly demonstrated everywhere. There's not a lot of theoretical stuff behind it, except for the ability to ramp up an electromagnetic wave enough to polarize the quantum foam. So, just fill in not cold fusion, but just fill in fusion. You need a intense power source, something that can have, that gigawatt type energy of a city in the area of a refrigerator or a small vehicle, which is theorized to both be possible and also to exist in secret, testing or even regular use. So it's not really anti-gravity because it very much takes advantage of electromagnetic effects. It's the magnetic field that gets trapped in the sandwiched layers of a superconductor. That's the pinning. So, you're carrying something that is a superconductor, and the air around you is magnetic because you made it so with something you're carrying. So the superconductor you're carrying locks into the magnetic field you made, and bam, you're locked in the air, just like the two components of this experiment are locked in orientation to each other, which you can Google up very easily. It's the reason I'm drawn towards this theory originally, and why the Tic Tac UFOs were of such particular interest to me, because they look like something that could be driven by this sort of propulsion system. Now, in further researching, quote researching, in other words, watching YouTube videos and surfing the net, it seems very popular to discuss donut-shaped torus chambers that are filled with some sort of metal vapor, diamagnetic. The stories vary, but it has some ferro or diamagnetic properties such that it is affected by a magnetic field. And so what you do is you have a really rapidly spinning magnetic field, which gets all this ferromagnetic vapor particles spinning, and it gets up to, and some of the theories go that this is cooled to a superfluid, which I've discussed as one of the 5 states of matter. 2 of them seldom discussed. We all learn about, gas, liquid, and solids, but we rarely learn about friction-free superfluids and everyday plasma like fire and the sun and fluorescent light bulbs. So plasma is all around us too as one of the states of matter. But there's also this superfluid. So the theory goes that these donut torus-shaped, containment chambers that contain super-cooled, perhaps vapor metal that seems to be at odds with supercooled. If it's supercooled, it's going to be liquid. So let's say it's liquid, and then you've got some sort of rotating magnetic field that gets all that magnetic liquid rotating, and then this, theory gets up to relativistic speeds. I hear the term relativistic in like kinetic rail guns and stuff that blow up planets by how much power they have in them. So the idea is that you're building up power. There's a tremendous amount of kinetic force spinning around inside this this chamber, driven by spinning magnetic field. So it works a lot like a railgun in that sense from science fiction. But when you get up to those speeds, there is a gravity wave produced. Now, gravity waves have been observed and proven. They were predicted by, I believe, relativity, and it would take the place of a lensing effect when we observed planets and stars, including our own, from a distance. So I think we've conducted that experiment now to where we've actually seen the lensing effect. And so, in addition to just the curvature of space-time that we know from relativity, there is also some relationship between electromagnetism and gravity waves. That's the thing, that these, the distortion of space-time isn't just simply that trampoline image with a bowling ball in the middle that is so popularly used to demonstrate, space-time. But the surface of the trampoline is rippling, and those ripples can in fact be manufactured, and the ripples can be like a done in such a way that their position is different from elsewhere in the depressed trampoline. So the gravity well of the Earth is a bowling ball in the middle of a large trampoline, and then a gravity wave generator is something elsewhere on the trampoline jumping up and down so much that it actually can make a meaningful ripple. And this leads to various more true forms of anti-gravity, where you're forming something that you fall up into. If you want to move fastly, you fall into it, you surge into it. These are called, I believe, surge drives in science fiction, and are the theoretical propulsion system, anti-gravity and propulsion system of the allegedly US TR-3B, triangular, reverse engineered from UFOs spaceship. The kinds that, if we have colonies on the moon, are the ones taking us back and forth there. They're the ones that can go underwater as well without resistance, although the Tic Tac ones, I would imagine, could as well too. Any of these, non-propellant based propulsion systems could go underwater, because without propellant, without burning fuel, you suddenly can just push yourself along underwater. Sure, you got water resistance, but you just put more energy in, which seems to be pretty cheap and abundant in these types of vehicles. So there you have it. I will be talking more about these other types of anti-gravity propulsion systems, because I've spent so much time on the quantum pinning varieties, which really appeal to me so much because they are, high school experiments, demonstratable, with all but having enough energy to, make the role of the magnet played by absolute positions in space-time, which does lead to other little nuanced details like how do you get it to move. And I have a video envisioned for the future where I talk about how maglev trains work, and so the manipulation of the electromagnetic field you're emitting, alternating polarities can actually make it so that you can push this Tic Tac vehicle along on these magnetic rails in the air. It's all a very appealing vision of non-anti-gravity. Anti-gravity, it's just that the electromagnetic forces are so much stronger than gravity. You think gravity is so strong because you feel yourself fall down and go boom. But then you see these very large, heavy objects being moved around with the quantum phase locking a trick on the YouTube videos, and you realize that objects of fairly large weight could be moved around by electromagnetic energy just as well as overcoming the force of gravity. You don't need anti-gravity to have interstellar levitation. Again, it's not your warp drive or faster than light travel vehicles. It would still take 20,000 years or whatever to reach the closest sun using these maglev trails in the air. So it doesn't crack the puzzle pieces that so many people would like to see cracked, to go, oh, see, we can do interstellar space travel, and so can they. If we can do it, they can do it. So it's just as likely reverse engineered from alien tech as us designing it ourselves, because it means they're here. It's no big deal. People, races visit each other. They try not to wipe each other out instantaneously, or it would have happened already. And they have a little bit of respect, even if they have nefarious plans that take a while. They don't blow it for everyone right away, or that would have happened already. So the aliens are at least benevolent or scheming enough to not work too quickly. Or all this alien tech stuff is just of domestic terrestrial design, which I like to think so. I think that the folks out there, from the all theoretical ones to the more quantum ones, which is applied because all their formulas started working. Your Schrodingers, your Heisenbergs, your Dirac's, your Einsteins, your Bohrs, your Casimirs, they all, and then there's a bunch others that came later after the World War II, after the bomb was dropped. There were a bunch that came up through, like Richard Feynman and Wheeler, his instructor, and a lot of this stuff was worked out. Theoretically possible from TR1 to TR2, right? Complete secrecy surrounding TR3, where stuff is kind of trying to get it working in the labs. TR4, we've got something lifting off the ground. We can maybe control this to TR5, TR6, and then TR7, where people could actually see it, where rubber hits the road. And then, potentially up through TR10, where it's in everyday use. Now, of course, this stuff is probably at rubber hits the road level, TR7, and so there's not a lot of it produced. It's not a lot of it out there, but probably very likely of earthly origin. Both the one I described in the last video and the one which I'll go into more depth, because it seems to be the one behind the triangle-shaped TR3Bs, our own, and all the saucers that are the ones that are allegedly coming in from all over the place once they detected our, atomic bomb. Hi, we're here. A pre-warp field technological civilization has cracked atomic energy. So now it's only a matter of decades before anti-gravity and then warp fields, and we'll be visiting them. Now, no one wants to rush that process because a species like ours could probably do quite a lot of, intergalactic damage. So flattening the curve, slowing it down. You remember flattening the curve from the COVID outbreak? Same deal, if real, the curve is being flattened. Even if it's all of domestic design, and we know these Tic Tac things are real, right? We know they're real, oh my God. As long as Fravor and his co-pilot and like 20 other people aren't just outright lying, under government orders on a special mission to throw the Chinese onto a red herring, waste billions of dollars on alien tech while we sit back, laughing our way to the next replacement for SR-71 Blackbird, something more like just suborbital Aurora airplanes with none of the anti-gravity. We could be just laughing our way to, air superiority through much more traditional technologies, right? That's what a lot of people think is going on. But if all these people aren't lying, if the leaks are real, the Lou Elizondo leaks, those three, FLIR and Gimbal videos, the Tic Tac account, if all that's real, someone's got anti-gravity in one of its forms. Likely the form in the Tic Tac, which is much more, at our fingertips, I believe, because it's based on phenomenon that are quite real, except for the magnetizing of quantum foam. That just takes a lot of energy, but we believe if we can ramp it up, we can do that. And we know we can do maglev trains to manipulate those fields, so it seems like not too far-fetched that we can do it sans rails, or the role of rails being played by midair. And then the other stuff, which I need to understand more because I don't get it. Why does spinning ferrous, liquid metal at, near relativistic speeds cause a gravity wave? We know gravity waves to exist. That was one of the big news headlines of previous years. We've observed them. So now, can they be produced by things other than the mass of a moon or a star or a planet, which is what we thought, was the case before. All this stuff was called impractical in the past because it would take all the power on Earth to just power this one thing. And, no big deal. Today it can probably be done with fusion. And tomorrow it can probably be done with, Casimir energy taps. 0-point energy. I'm a believer. It's a matter of geometries and machining precision and stuff like that. The inventor of the quantum cascading laser has some YouTube videos out where he proposes, I forget his name, he's an Italian scientist working, I believe, in the United States now in industry. And, he described a few ways that you can probably tap into the Casimir force to produce, he calls it quantum light, Casimir light, but light is energy. He's talking about a 0-point energy tap or battery, So anyway, there's so many interesting topics I want to cover in upcoming videos. There's also the cloaking, so subscribe, follow, and make comments. I'm happy to respond. People like to post comments on my videos and delete them. What would I do if I had room temperature superconductor, as if someone out there had it and was asking, hey, what would you do if you had this? Maybe someone reproducing the piezoelectric one described in Salvador Paez's patent. So I'm getting into some wacky territory with what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to keep it, just this side of, implausible. So hope you're enjoying it. Talk to you soon.